We need to know if you pose a threat.
We're assassins. Isn't posing a threat kind of the point?
Hey, it's Mike and Chris. We're going to talk about The Predator. Is it as good as the original? Is it as dark as AVP Requiem? How many times does it reuse lines from the original as cheesy jokes? The answer is several. But first, subscribe to GameSpot Universe for reviews, breakdowns, and more about all the stuff that you love.
And also The Predator, which you will know of.
Also, fair warning, this is going to be a spoiler review. We're going to talk about it in sort of general terms at first, and then we will give you a warning when we're going to start getting into specific spoiler territory, but you've been warned. All right, so Chris, what did you think about The Predator?
I did not love it at all. It does some really cool things. Listen, all you really want out of a Predator movie is to watch a Predator like take a human being and like rip it in half and then throw it at a wall. And
that shit happens
a lot. And it's cool and it looks great and it's appropriately gory and there's some good tension with like the scares of like, where's the Predator? We hear like the clicking and everything. Like that stuff's really cool.
It does a lot of the stuff that you want from a Predator movie, but I think there needs to be like a cohesive, comprehensible movie around that, and one that doesn't completely fall apart in the second half, which is not this movie.
Not at all.
So overall, I think it's like a 55% bad movie and like a 45% good movie, which is better than some previous Predator movies, but
sure,
not what I was hoping for from this.
I definitely liked it less than you did. I put it more at about 80-20. It's just...
That's harsh.
I know the stuff it did well, which is just a couple of things, I thought it did really well, but the stuff it didn't do great, it's so obvious
really
that
do great.
The CGI has issues.
We're gonna get into
yeah,
it.
there's so much.
Hey, we have a word.
Let me guess. He's done something crazy.
So first, let's talk about some of the stuff that we liked in this movie, which there was a lot of. I think we both enjoyed the humor. I think that there's a lot of, it's a very funny movie, which is weird to say about a Predator movie, but if you know Shane Black's previous movies, then you're probably expecting that. It's that same type of humor, nice guys, and it works really well. Like, I honestly think it fits, and it is one of the best parts about the movie.
Yeah, I would agree. And obviously, if you go back and watch the original Predator, you're getting a very different kind of funny, because it's more like looking back on a movie that's 30 years old, and that's what makes it funny. This is just humor. Like, he injected humor into the way he does most of his movies.
It's like the action comedy that I think is like pretty popular right now, and when done well, it can be pretty good. And I think like the first half of this movie hits the right balance and the right tone between action and comedy. Keegan-Michael Key is really good, tells a lot of your mom jokes, but it's like a coping mechanism for him. Like, he has like severe PTSD, and they're like, yeah, he just tells jokes now. Well,
and that's what I feel, what makes the humor work is that it's amongst this group of sort of military cast-offs who...
The loonies.
The loonies, as they've dubbed themselves, who all of their joking with each other is ways of coping with what they've been through and what they're going through now, which they're all shocked to find out is fighting aliens.
It's not a predator, that's a sports hunter.
Well, we took a vote. Predator's cooler, right? Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the characters that we like too, because you and I actually have a different list of
very different
which characters were our favorite. But I really liked Sterling K. Brown's character, who you didn't, and we can get to that later. But Sterling K. Brown just plays this just super evil kind of typical like government spook who's like, he's constantly popping nicotine gum into his mouth and just saying the F word a lot and just being totally evil. And I thought it seemed like he had a lot of fun with it. And he's totally doing a caricature of a role, but in like a fun, self-aware kind of way, which I really enjoyed.
I really liked Boyd Holbrook, who's kind of the star. I don't know him from anything. I know he's done things, but nothing I've watched.
What did he say? Doesn't ring any bells.
It's not that he's doing an amazing job here. I just think I like the character, and that's how I feel about most of the cast. None of them are playing like nobody's winning an Oscar from this movie.
It's a huge endorsement.
I don't know how to break it to you.
I really like it, but it's not that he's doing a great job.
Well, honestly, like I enjoyed watching him, and I enjoyed watching Olivia Munn, who I know you did not necessarily.
Oh, we'll get into
You're not
it.
into.
We'll get into
but
it.
like I cannot recall a single character's name from this entire movie other than Predator and the Big Predator.
I don't think that was its official name either.
Which, yeah, so like...
Well, there were a lot of characters too.
Right, and I liked sort of the gang on the bus of the loonies.
I like Nebraska too.
Nebraska, I feel like, for me, was like the standout of
He
the
was
entire
he was
film.
kind of the other main character. Like he was kind of a foil to the main guy.
And he was like the leader of the loonies.
Yeah, and he's the most fleshed out among them as well.
And we remember his name.
And we remember his name because it's Nebraska.
But it's not Nebraska. It's actually Gaylord, but they
Right.
call him Nebraska.
Welcome to the Looney Bus.
McKenna.
Nebraska Williams.
That's Coyle. That's Lynch.
With Merckx.
Why are you here?
I don't think you believe me.
One actor I did want to point out especially was Jacob Tremblay from Room and a bunch of other things he's done that I can't remember, the little
he's
kid.
the kid, yeah.
He's the little kid. He plays Rory McKenna, and he has Asperger's syndrome.
Yeah.
And it's not something I would expect the movie to really tackle in a meaningful way, but it does. I feel like it does a really good job of portraying him and sort of what that is for his life.
I have thoughts about this because it seemed like a realistic portrayal of being on the spectrum, but it also is used in a really weird way later in the plot. Another thing that we both liked in this movie is just the action, like the Predator. You know what you know the kind of stuff that we want from this movie, which
The
is like
gore, the
people
viscera.
getting cut in half by like death frisbees and like blasted away by shoulder-mounted shit and like. There's so much of that, I think, especially in the first half of the movie, like before it gets super CG heavy and before the plot falls apart. There's just a lot of really good like Predator violence and action, which is one of the things that I want from one of these movies.
Anytime I can turn on a movie like this, and like obviously you have to put yourself into the mind frame of the movie, but when something hits a person and from the back of them you just see like a massive spray of blood fly across the screen against the wall. In real life, that would be terrible.
Oh, yeah.
But like here, like this is, if you're coming to a Predator movie for anything but this, you shouldn't be watching a Predator movie because that's what these movies are.
Really good.
The ultimate predators.
Also, the super predator or the ultra predator, I forget what they call it, but it's a bigger predator. He is a big, bad alien man, and he f***s some shit up.
He has different rules for like how he operates in the Predator. He develops like an exoskeleton under his skin.
Yeah, there was like this weird, that was like a weird thing where like I didn't fully know what she's like, did you catch that? He developed an exoskeleton under his skin. I was like, did you put that line in because you cannot tell?
Yeah, because
in the
I did
actual
not
effects
catch
of the
it
movie. I couldn't
at all.
see what they were talking about, but he like does this thing with his like his shoulders, and I was like, did something just? But I thought he was cool overall.
And he's also twice as tall
huge.
as a
He's like
regular Predator. He's a
11 feet tall.
monster. So what didn't we like, Mike? What was you not a fan of?
I mean, generally, and we've talked about this a little bit already, but the story completely falls apart in the second half.
Yes, it does.
Like, there's literally a moment where I turned to Chris as we were watching it, and I said, did I just pass out for 5 minutes and miss 2 scenes where things happened? Because how did they get from here to there?
Makes no sense.
We'll get into it a little more later in the video. But another thing that I want to bring up is the CGI, because good God is it bad. It looks like 20-year-old CGI in multiple scenes. Not in every scene. Some scenes it's pretty good, but like...
That's the thing that bothers me the most about it. Like in some scenes it really works, but then it's in others you're like, oh, they did this on an Amiga.
The scenes with the Predator dogs, like the first time they really show up, it's just
it looks like the demon dogs from Ghostbusters.
It looks super unfinished. Like one is flying through the air and it's like in slow motion, and then they cut away really quick because it just doesn't look good. It's crazy. It's super crazy. That I can't believe they didn't.
It's very weird to me that
fix
this is
it.
the final product and not like a work in progress
Yeah.
cut. I really did not like Sterling K. Brown. Yeah, he's great in so many things.
Yeah.
This isn't one of them, everybody. Everything Mike said is a positive. Annoyed me to death.
Constantly popping gum in.
He's popping like Nicorette gum, and he's just saying F this and F that, and it's just annoying. And he thinks he's the coolest guy on the planet, but he's the most incapable scientist of all time. Like, he's terrible.
I kind of felt that way about Olivia Munn's character, just because she's like a biologist that they bring in, and like at some point she just like picks up a gun and then she's like kind of an action hero for the rest of the movie, but the movie can't really decide whether she's really good at gun stuff or really bad. I don't understand. Does she have some kind of military training, or like is she just pulling it all out of her ass? I don't.
Yeah, that was in another scene that got cut.
Super inconsistent.
It's very inconsistent, but like, yeah.
I also want to complain about Yvonne Strahovski being in 2 scenes in this movie.
She should be in so much more of this movie.
First of all, she's great. I've been a Yvonne fan since Chuck.
Absolutely.
Through Mass Effect.
Why couldn't she be the scientist?
At one point, she picks up a gun and she's like, I'm going with you. And they go, no, you're not. You're a girl. You have to stay here. They don't say that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's pretty much
Why
it.
can't she go with them?
Gentlemen, they're large. They're fast. And f***ing you up's their idea of tourism.
Let's talk about some of the dialogue, because as I alluded to earlier, they do that stupid ass thing where they reuse lines from the original, but as a joke.
Listen, Mike, sometimes you have to get to the choppers.
Get to the choppers.
Get to the chopper!
Okay, Chris, let's talk about how the entire plot is actually about global warming.
Listen, when I go to a Predator movie to watch like aliens rip humans apart and tear out their spines and do all that stuff.
I want to be lectured.
Yeah, I want a message to come with it.
There's so many leaps of logic in this movie where they figure stuff out. Like Olivia Munn, at one point being the biologist, is just looking at something under the microscope that she inexplicably has on the RV that I don't even know where it came from. And
the magical gives you everything you could ever need RV. Is
right,
that the one you're talking about?
Jesus Christ. And she goes, I figured everything out. And
she's
like,
really good at her job, Mike.
There's like a huge exposition dump where she figures out that they're trying to hybridize their DNA. And then later when she's talking to Sterling K. Brown's character, he's like, what does he say? He's like, we're gonna be dead within 2 generations. Climate change, no joke. It's so bad. And
also,
then they make all these...
it's such a weirdly bad oversimplification of what climate change is.
For sure. And also, there's a lot more reasons why we might be dead within 2 generations. You don't know that it's climate change. But anyway, they figure out the whole thing of the predators are here to collect the best of our DNA before humans are extinct. We're an endangered species. It's like, oh my God, that's bad. It's bad.
If they actually use those words, like Olivia Munn's character says, we're an endangered species.
Yeah, I mean, that's a direct
it's
quote.
insane.
It's so bad. Those 2 scenes in particular are 2 of the dumbest scenes I have ever seen in anything. Ideas are just shooting in your brain like lightning bolts, and then they come out of your mouth, and it's just the story because we need to convey it somehow, I guess. The plot of the original Predator is that a predator is in the jungle and he kills a bunch of men, and then the man kills the predator. That's the story.
In this one, one of them comes to Earth to like give us a secret weapon to fight it. Then the other one comes to Earth to kill the one who came to Earth to
Can we
help.
have like a fake cut here where it's like,
Predator killer robot suit. I'll take it in a 42 long.
All right, we're gonna talk about the ending because it is the worst.
It's oh man, they really want a sequel that's not gonna happen.
I really don't want a sequel.
No, they do though.
But I don't.
If the Predator came here to give us something to help us from becoming extinct, maybe he should have done something about all the fucking dirty air, because a Predator coming here isn't what's gonna make us extinct. They said it 3 scenes before that it's
climate
global
change.
warming.
So if you want to save us, then give us good science to fix it. The Predators aren't what's gonna make us
Maybe there's a Brita filter built into the suit.
So the timeline of this film, it starts out and Boyd Holbrook McKenna gets the invisibility marble, which is apparently all their invisibility powers come from a tiny marble that you can fit in your ass.
But they also don't necessarily explain how it works. He finds a crashed Predator, he takes like the helmet and the gauntlet and the invisibility marble. He swallows the invisibility marble with a shot of tequila, because that's how you drink invisibility marbles.
3 fingers.
That's right. And then he pays someone to mail the helmet and the gauntlet to his P.O. box in America.
His P.O. box, which he has not paid the money for, and so the mailman shows up to his house with all the stuff, and his kid opens the box and starts fucking with the mask, which is how all this happens.
Yes.
Okay, that's on Halloween day,
We think.
right? It's on Halloween during the day that the package arrives at the kid's house.
Yes.
So it must be before Halloween, somewhere significantly in the past, that
Yes.
he both swallows the marble and mails the box, because that's in the same scene.
You would think, although how long does this marble take to pass through this man's
Okay,
system?
this is the question, because Halloween night, so the night of the very same day, is when Holbrook makes it back to his home, to his town, rescues his kid, and then later that night shits out the marble, and then they can start using it as a plot device again.
Which should, in theory, only take about 24 hours.
Right, so 24
depending
to
on how
48
his
hours
system is.
maximum, and a bunch of shit happens in between. How did that box get there so quickly? The same day?
I love the mail. The mail brings me all kinds of great things.
It is
the
a
mail
vital
is
institution.
Slow.
Yes,
It's so slow.
agree.
International mail, even slower.
It's known that much of the second half of the movie, if not the entire climax or whatever, was reshot so that it
Yes.
could be at night instead of during the day. There's a scene where they are at his house. It's like Yvonne Strahovski's only other scene. And they all pile into an RV. And then there's a hard...
Well, everyone except Yvonne Strahovski,
Right,
which would have
because
been cool.
she's-
A woman.
whatever. Hard cut, the next scene, they're in the RV and then a hatchback, and then Nebraska has stolen a police car, and they all have huge guns.
Yeah, they have an arsenal of machine guns. No explanation as to where any
What?
of these cars or guns came from. We're left to believe they stole them.
I literally
somehow?
said, did I fall asleep for 5 minutes?
Supposedly, according to the director, the final showdown took place during the day.
Yes.
And then they finished that, they shot it, it was done, and he watched it, and he's like, no. So then they reshot it
Right,
at
because
night.
it wasn't scary. The Predator's not scary during the day, which the original movie High would like to
Yeah,
have a word with
that's
you.
right.
There was like a part in the dialogue in Sterling K.
Sterling
Brown's
K. Brown
dialogue.
is like interrogating a child.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, remember that Halloween night when you used the mask to blow up a house? How did
on
that
Halloween,
happen?
on Halloween night, this thing blew up a house.
And we're like,
you mean tonight?
You mean like
an
3
hour
hours ago? Like, what's going on? It's the kind of thing where it's clearly the dialogue was written for a scene that took place the next day or days later or whatever it was. But when they reshot it at night, it puts it all in the same
It's
night.
almost like it was super rushed, and they didn't have time to rewrite any of the dialogue.
Or put good CG in.
A lot of characters die in this movie.
Almost all of them.
Did you have any that you enjoyed?
I appreciated how quickly and unimportantly they killed Sterling K. Brown's character.
That really bothered me because there's like, it's like a lot of quick cuts. It's like an action scene right at the end, and it happens so quickly. I literally thought I imagined it.
I didn't
until-
think it actually happened until I realized he wasn't there anymore. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, that
exactly.
must have been his dad.
At the very end of the movie, I was like, oh, Sterling K. Brown never came back, so that must have been him. But at one point, his shoulder-mounted robot gun, which by the way, where did he even get that?
Who knows?
At some point, he just has a Predator gun mounted on his thing.
But he's
and
also
then-
carrying a pistol.
But it just turns and just blows his head off, and it's like a half second. And I was like,
Oh wait,
What?
is that how he got blown up?
yeah. His own shoulder thing, you didn't even see it?
No. I just remember him getting blown
to
up.
God, this movie. Oh. His own shoulder thing.
Yeah, some of the way some of the loonies died was done well. Some of them not as much.
I thought Keegan-Michael Key and Tourette's guy both dying,
Bleeding out and then shooting each other.
I was like, I don't know if this is supposed to be funny, but
It's
I
not.
kind of thought it was
It's
a funny
not,
moment.
but like the camera pulls back to a wide shot so you see them both, and it plays this very serious kind of
It's
patriotic
beautiful. It
type
made
of
me-
music,
it
and
made
then
me-
it is like, boom.
It made me think of like that painting of like God and Adam, like, you know what I mean, reaching
Yeah.
for each other
With guns.
I don't know. It was meant to be evocative of that, but it was.
I appreciated I don't remember the Bible thumping loony. I don't remember what his name was, but he died when a force field cut off his legs and he just flew away. It's like it's the exact kind of dumb thing I would expect, and I was like, oh, it works.
One of McKenna's original squad mates at the beginning of the movie gets dropped from the tree, like classic Predator style, kind of half-skinned, whatever. He's got the McKenna has the shoulder-mounted thing or the wrist-mounted thing on, and it like automatically he accidentally like launches something that both knocks the Predator out and cuts that guy in half, and then the Predator is in camo, lying prone, and it's just his bottom half upside down,
And just
intestines
blood,
slowly sliding out, and a
blood.
waterfall of blood just dripping. The sound of it I can still hear is glorious.
And the
I
way it
thoroughly enjoyed
falls
that
on the
one.
camouflage Predator reveals its shape to him.
Very clever.
For the first time, and I thought that was very, very cool.
It's like one of the best ideas in the movie.
Also, the movie, from the beginning, we come to realize, like, oh, Predators aren't really good at anything. The suit does everything for them. If you punch a Predator in the face, something's gonna pop out of its arm and murder you.
Yeah, is that a retcon that all of their weaponry is like automatic?
It's,
like
it's automated because
when the kid is wearing the mask and somebody throws like a beer can at him, and then
a
it
missile
blows
comes out of the
that
helmet
guy
and
up.
blows the house. No, not blows the guy up. It blows up his
Well, it
entire
goes
house.
through the guy and blows up his entire, which was rad. Fuck
Yeah.
bullies and their houses.
Especially those two that disappeared.
Yeah, what happened to those two?
I'm assuming they're dead. Just
They
like
had as
everyone
many
else.
scenes as
Yeah.
Yvonne Strahovski did. There's two bullies who make fun of him for having Asperger's.
They're going to be real dicks to him on
Which,
school on
by the
Monday.
way, when you say you want to take a bite of an Asperger, I don't think it means what you think it
It's
means,
not.
kid.
No, they said it sounds so good.
It is ineffective bullying.
Yeah.
The ultimate predators.
Not even a specific death, but that first, when the Predator's sedated in the lab and he comes to,
Oh yeah.
and he just rips scientists apart left and right.
That scene was
Half
tight.
the bodies flying, blood spraying everywhere. It's the classic Predator sort of visuals that you want, done in a very sterile white room, so it's
Right.
even more effective.
And in like a modern way where the effects all look really good and it's a mix of practical and CG. And there's little touches that make the Predator seem really powerful, where he's stomping around in that room, and at some point he just casually, there's like a guy who's lying prone, and he just casually swipes the guy's face.
Yeah, like it's nothing.
And his face just gets fucking obliterated, and you're like, damn, this is a powerful alien. Like
Yeah.
it totally conveys that. And that scene was awesome. That whole scene.
So good.
And then Olivia Munn is just like
Naked.
scrabbling around on the ground with no clothes
Yeah.
on for a part of it, and it's like, what is happening?
Science.
You got any final thoughts on the Predator?
It's fine. Like if you like Predator movies, you'll like at least 10 minutes of this movie.
Yeah, honestly, like my overall thought is like, whatever, man. It's we've been watching mediocre to bad Predator movies for like
That's true.
two generations.
Yeah,
I
we
liked
have
this-
to immediately dismiss the idea that there are amazing Predator
There's
movies.
one good Predator
There's one
movie.
good. Well, there's two good.
I thought Predators was pretty good. Predators is better than this movie.
And Predator.
But this movie is better than AVP or AVP Requiem or probably Predator 2, frankly. It goes Predator, Predators, The Predator,
And then the rest in some order.
which says something. It says more about the rest of the series than it does, because there's a lot about this movie that we didn't like.
Yeah.
Just, go see it if you like Predator movies.
Like, listen, get together a group of friends and go watch something else.
Global warming's bad.
But like, buy it. Yeah, it's bad. Like this movie.
Get to the choppers.
Follow me on Twitter. Not him.
Shunk, 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 shunk.
It's so bad. Oh.